Hi, welcome to your postpartum workout for new moms. This is your postnatal Pilates mat workout part 1. So go ahead and grab a mat and we'll get started.
Please.
Okay, Mama, I'm just going to have you start sitting comfortably on your mat. You can cross your legs, or if it's not comfortable, you sit on the floor. You can always do this sitting in a chair. So we're going to start by getting connected into our abdominal wall, and then we're going to work on our pelvic floor. So restoring our abdominal muscles is super important because it's definitely been stretched out quite a bit while we're pregnant. And then the pelvic floor as well, which is kind of like a basket under your pelvis that helps support the weight of your child when it's in utero. So during as pregnancy and as it progresses along, and then if you have a natural childbirth, that definitely gets stretched out and thinned out. So we're going to work on restoring that and pulling everything up and in and back together and nice and strong for you. So make sure before you start this that you've gotten your doctor's approval. And I also would encourage you to be sure to get checked for any separation in your abdominal wall before doing this exercise. All right, so if you've been cleared and you're ready to go, let's get started. So we're just going to start with some breathing through our rib cage. Just place your hands, fingers in front, thumb in the back around your rib cage. And I want you to breathe into your rib cage and feel it expand side to side. And then exhale. Think of pulling the rib cage back together as if you're wearing a corset. And maybe some of you are, some of those postpartum corsets. You can kind of think of that while we're doing this movement. Do it again. And inhale. Exhale. Tighten that corset up quite a bit. Good. And just keep moving through this. As you think of exhaling and pulling the rib cage together, just visualize your abdominal muscles knitting together as well. All the way from the top right here, the center where it starts to separate your rib cage, through the belly button and down into the pelvis. Breathe in. And exhale. Pull the abdominal wall together. Good. Let's do this 2 more times. Breathe in. And breathe out. Last time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. All right, place your hands onto your knees. Now we're going to focus on our pelvic floor. So I like to give the image that imagine at the base of your pelvis, where you're sitting on it right now, is a little elevator. And to strengthen our pelvic muscles, we want to let that elevator rise up to our belly button and then release it back down. So go ahead and picture the elevator at the base of your pelvis and let the elevator go all the way up, pulling it into the abdominal wall. You can start to feel the lower abdominals engage and then release the elevator back down. Good. And again, let the elevator go up, 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 up to the belly button. Lower abdominals pulled in and lower back down. Good. We're going to do this 4 more times. So as you're doing this, there's a tendency to kind of like squeeze the glutes and engage everything down here. I want you to try and relax your glute muscles and just work on the pelvic floor. Now, it'll take some practice, but you can get there. And if any of you have done Kegel exercises while you're pregnant, this is essentially what it is. And lift the elevator up to the belly button and lower back down. And you can do them anywhere. You can do it in the grocery store, in the car, while you're folding laundry, wherever. And lower back down. Good. Okay, so keep those 2 principles in mind as we come on to our back, and we're going to do a little bit more. Okay, so my knees and my feet are about hip-width distance apart, and we're going to take that pelvic floor movement and turn it into a small pelvic tilt. So pull the elevator up towards the belly button. As you tuck the pelvis, abdominal wall pulled in, just a little bit so that your tush is about 1 inch off the mat or the floor, and then untuck the pelvis, and go back to just a neutral spine. No arc in the lower back right now. And pull everything in and up. Tucking the pelvis. You can start to engage your glutes back here a little bit. And release. Good. And again, scoop that belly button in and up. And tuck. And release. And again. Try and keep a nice natural breath. And release. Good. One more time. And tuck. Put all 10 toes and heels on the mat. And release. Good. Now, if this is feeling challenging enough, it feels really good, just keep going. If you want to progress a little bit further, we're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling, maintaining that pelvic floor pulled up, abdominals pulled in. Okay, try and hold it here. And the challenge here is to not let our rib cage open up. We want to keep the abdominal wall connected and pulled in. And you should feel your glutes engage a little bit back here, which is always a good plus, right? And lower back down. Good. And again. Tuck and lift up. So if you're just getting started and this is your first workout after having a baby, just take it one movement at a time. If you have to work up to doing the whole thing, that's totally fine. I remember when, after my first kid, I had, a few minutes while he was napping, and I laid down on the floor. I remember, living room, one bedroom apartment in Queens, New York, and I laid down to do some mat exercises, and I felt, the first thing that thought through my mind is, oh my gosh, I have to start from the beginning all over again. And I had done Pilates throughout the majority of my pregnancy. I'd been teaching Pilates for years, and I had felt super strong, and then it was like everything was gone. All the muscles seemed to be gone, the muscles in my neck were gone. Good, just one more. And I just thought, I have to start all over again, and I did. But then over time, slowly, I was able to regain that strength, regain the muscles that had been stretched out, and some were stretched out and some were super tight. It felt like a different body, quite frankly, in a lot of ways. But I just want to encourage you with that even if you feel like this is challenging you, just start here. Just begin again today and just take it one day at a time. Okay, so moving on, we're going to do some toe taps. You're going to bring your right leg up towards a 90-degree angle, and you want to have your knee over your hip and the knee in line with the foot. Point your toes, and keeping, my little girl's crying. She's awake. She heard me. Okay, tap the toe down and up. That's my husband. He's getting hurt. Good husband. And tap down and up. And tap down and up. Isn't that reality for you? Postpartum workout. Baby crying in it. There you go. And up. Good. So as I'm doing this, I'm really focusing on trying to keep my hips as stable as possible. And that stability comes from everything that we just worked on. Engaging the pelvic floor, keeping the abdominal muscles pulled in. Let's just do 2 more here, and then we'll switch to the other leg. I even feel a little bit in my quad right now. That's good too. And up and lower back down. Okay, other leg. Lift up and tap and lift. So if you're feeling it in your hip flexors, the front of your hips a little bit, it means that's also something that needs to be strengthened. And as you strengthen more through Pilates, that definitely helps it a lot. Something you can do to kind of release it a little bit would be to pull the knee in a little bit more so that the leg is at kind of more of a forgiving angle rather than at a 90-degree angle. So you can experiment with that and see where's your happy place, but this 90-degree angle is where we're going to be working towards. So you can just keep that in mind. I lost count. Let's just do 2 more. And 2. And one more time. Tap and Good. Let's get a little hug into the knees, release those hip flexors. Just let your abdominals relax a little bit. And nice gentle rock back and forth. Okay, so go ahead and roll over to one side and gently press yourself up to a seated position, and then we're going to come onto all fours. Okay, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and begin by rounding the back, tucking the pelvis just like we did on the floor. Continue to round through all the way up into an angry kitty position. And now starting with your tailbone, untuck the tailbone, roll through the spine, roll your shoulders back, down, away from your ears, and gently look up. Okay, so this should get a nice stretch through the torso, through the spine that we were just working. Tucking, pulling up that pelvic floor, untuck the tailbone, roll through the spine, roll the shoulders back, lift the chin up, and then start with the tailbone again. Tuck the tailbone, roll through the spine, pull up your lower abdominals, drop the head down. Let the head really relax, let go of the tension in your neck and your shoulders, and untuck the tailbone. Oh, baby girl. And tuck and round out. This is a really nice stretch to do, especially after holding a little one or nursing a little one, feeding a little one all day long. Open the chest. One last time. Round. Tuck the pelvis. Arc up. Belly button up towards the ceiling. And opening the chest. Okay, come back to your neutral spine. I'm going to scoot forward just a little bit. So I'll kick my couch back there. Stretch one leg back. Point your toes. And then lift the leg up to hip height. I want you to pull the abdominal wall together, pull the abs together, and just try and hold here and balance. All right? So now the glutes are engaged again, working back here, connecting where the upper thigh and the glute meet, reaching that leg long out of the hip. And if you can, reach the opposite arm forward. Can't see my palm. My palm's facing in towards the midline of my body. And then lower back down. So if it's too challenging to lift your arm up this time, that's fine. Just do the leg. But if you can, do the arm and the leg together. And lower it down. So it's not uncommon, especially right if you've had a baby, to kind of wiggle back and forth a little bit. If you're like me, you have a little chair here, you can just kind of use it to hold your balance a little bit, test yourself, and lower back down. And this will also build some upper body arm strength, which of course is good for a growing baby. The little one you heard crying, she's now 2.5, but she still likes to be held just as much as when she was a newborn. So keeping that upper body workout for me is super important, as I'm sure it is for you too. And lower it down. And lift up. Good, just check in with your abs. Make sure the abdominals are still pulled in. Rib cages together. Switch. Make sure you're still breathing. And lower. And last one on this side. Reach. Just a little bit further, a little bit further. And lower. And last one. Left arm forward, right leg back. Reach. 2, 3. And lower. All right, wonderful ladies. We're just going to finish with a mermaid stretch. So bring your legs over to one side of your torso. If this is uncomfortable on your knees, you can always open up to this position or just go back to our crisscross applesauce position that we started with. All right, bring your both arms out to the side. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, lower your hand down towards the mat and reach the arm over your head. Good. Now as you're stretching, you get a nice stretch to the torso. try and reach the hip down the opposite direction, still keeping that rib cage together. So keep your arm a little bit in front of your torso. The more you bring it back, the more you can lose that rib cage connection. So bring it in front of you, and then press up off the floor, take a hold of your ankles and stretch over to the other side. This is also one of my favorites. So one thing I really noticed after both of my children, the flexibility I had through my rib cage muscles and through my torso and my rotation ability definitely diminished. And even still, it's something I have to work on, even though my daughter at this point is 2.5 and my son's 5. It's something I have to continually focus on. And even after my second pregnancy, I actually had to go to physical therapy to restore some of that rotation and some back pain. And it was something that we definitely had to work on a few times a week to restore. And in later videos, I will be adding in some rotation work for that. So if that's something you struggle with, we have some good stuff for that. But you can start with this mermaid stretch. Okay, let's switch legs over to the other side. Take a big inhale and exhale, lower down and stretch. And press up. And stretch over. And it's not uncommon for one side to be tighter than the other. Just like my left side is definitely tighter than my right side. And stretch. But what's great about Pilates is that it really works on bringing balance to the body, on both sides of the body and through all your different muscles. So if you have imbalances, it really helps create nice, well-rounded strength and flexibility to really be at your most optimal physical functioning, which is great. Okay, one more time, and stretch over, and up. Okay, mamas, you did it. Congratulations. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy day to do this with me. Leave a comment below. Let me know how it feels. Let me know if you have any questions and what other type of postpartum exercises you would like to see. All right, have a great day. Make sure that you subscribe, like the video, share it with other mamas, and I will see you next time.